Hello everyone. I'm glad you are here at our webinar, and me and my colleague will briefly introduce what's new in the Business Central 2022 release wave 1. So the first part, I will be delivering the first part of the webinar, and it will be about overview of functional enhancement and a short demo while it's a combined session. So we don't have a lot of time, but I will try to do my best to provide enough information about the release. My name is Igor. I'm a consultant at Companion and a team lead. So that's basically it. And my colleague is Jan. He will introduce himself later. This is a brief overview of the session and let's see the topics I am going to introduce. And after these topics, I will do short hands-on demo. So first of all, I will try to explain what is the, let's say, main focus of the Microsoft, what Microsoft is focusing in this newest release. So first of all, as you can see, there is more than 20 improvements, application functional improvements, and what is very important that they are based on partners' requests. So that means that Microsoft is still focusing on partners' requests, and the requests, the functional changes are actually based on some real-life scenarios. So it's a very good time to check what's new. And maybe if you're implementing something on your customers, so maybe you can reuse something from the what's newly introduced functions. Well, replace, let's say, reuse the code from Microsoft, because there is some neat improvements, like maybe a lot of partners are doing something like blocking VAT and general posting setups, and now it's a standard. So it may be you may reduce your code base and let's say have a little bit less code to maintain in your solutions. Another important topic is onboarding. So Microsoft is still focusing hardly on onboarding, because in SaaS world it's very natural that most of the time customers are on their own somewhere in, let's say, in cloud, and it's a good idea to provide as much help as possible, as much tools as possible to unblock themselves in their journey. So what's improved? So basically there is a lot of context-aware help. Well, help, as you can see, help pane itself is very improved and has much more context, let's say, content, and what's most important, context-aware content about your app, about what Microsoft has to offer. And it's only a very first steps from Microsoft to improve this help pane, because the next steps will be to provide partners same tools Microsoft are using to provide even more, let's say, smart help in a smart way. Also in tours or internal, how they call it, internal teaching tips tours, you can also now use some markup language to, let's say, visually improve it and make it more informative, and even include some internal links. Also, some slide guided tours improvements. It's not possible to cover all the improvements, so I really recommend to go to the Microsoft documentation about what's new and read on your own if you need some more information. Also, it's I think important to note that there is new progressive web app, progressive web app technology-based desktop app are released in Microsoft Store, and the previous versions will be supported only by the legacy app. So it's another improvement. Some small usability improvement, like easy way to copy link, or some opening like full list in some areas where like this unit of measures, they are not editable, but you still can go from the list to the full list, like minor improvement, but it's again showing that Microsoft is working on user experience on and on. What's What's in the Power Platform, it's, I think, important also to know that finally Power Automate and Power Apps Connector are removing the preview, let's say, name. So it's now, let's say, stable, production ready, and partners can utilize it more, let's say, safely. Also, what's important is that Dataverse now supports data change events. So I think it's a very important change. And also, unfortunately, I was not able to test it out because today I checked tenants, let's see, online tenants that I can access, and they are still on the previous version. So I cannot fully test, let's say, integrations. So, but another point is that you can manually trigger Power Automate flows from various, let's say, pages, and have even more, let's say, use cases for that. Also, some slight improvements in reporting, like improved account schedules. They can now fit more columns and some another neat features. Also, another one in reporting is that you can now easily create your custom Excel layout and apply it on some reports you need. And finally, a few words about overall Microsoft 365 and other integrations. Also, unfortunately, I was not able to test them out live without some real SaaS tenants with the latest version. So, but there are improvements, some enhancements to Microsoft Teams integration, like more detailed card that now fits more information. Also, what's interesting, what may be interesting, is that Outlook email, Outlook add-in will support possibility to attach email, let's see, from the email straightly to attach attachments from your email to the Business Central document. Let's see, if you're working with customer that sent you some information on the damaged item, you can straightforward attach the attachment to the, let's see, related sales order. Also, some improvements in sharing a file through OneDrive. It's not, let's see, it's not for kind of integrations or file interchange or whatever. It's for manual. Let's see, when you need a manual file share, but you can now, developers can reuse the underlying technologies, methods provided by Microsoft, and have, let's say, neat sharing functions. And finally, Shopify connector. So now it's provided by Microsoft and Shopify, and have, let's say, I was not able also to check all the details around it, but yeah, it should support all the essential features of the Shopify and Business Central in a very good way. So here, yeah, well, there is no live demo options, but as you can see, you can, let's say, some business and OneDrive sharing improvements and possibility to attach emails to the documents. And now I'm trying, let's say, I'm a little bit rushing because we still have second part, and I want to have to show you some demos, so a little bit on the rush. Okay, so now a few demos around onboarding. Let me share my screen. So what Microsoft improved in onboarding. So let's take a look at our item list, and the idea that I have added few fields by my two extensions, and what's improved is that let's say now you see much more detailed help pane, and help pane is actually sensing what's, let's say, what apps are installed, let's see what apps modify this page, and you can go straight, sorry, just for demo purposes, I'm using this. I use dynamics content, so you can go straight to your app documentation. Also, Microsoft content itself is much more improved, let's say, representation. And as mentioned, Microsoft will provide more tools in the later releases to so partners can reuse this technology. And so basically, I have one app. Let's say there is nothing special. It's just I added general help link for the app in the app file. And while Microsoft senses that I have two fields here, it suggests to, let's say, to use this documentation. So if we will go deeper, okay, so if we will go deeper into the item page itself, and I will take a tour. So I extended the tour. It's very simple change. You just need to extend the page, add some details. So I added the field and added the, let's say, this tour description. So as you can see, you can now use markup with some italic font, with some bold font. And you can, what's very interesting, I think you can go you can use some internal links. So basically relate your user to this some specific page that he can use, let's say, to enter this information. Also, I will end the tour now. So also, if let's say I have some information added on the page level, so I can, by pressing learn more, I see the same page, but now this link will be relating me to the page level, to the link I added on the page level. Also, Microsoft provided some tooling to change the base app, well, the default help content for, let's say, for item page or whatever page. You can find the information what table to let's say, to update, to change this information. Now we can take a look, just a short look at functionality like blocking VAT, let's say, setups, or general posting setups. So I will just, for the demo purposes, I will, let's say, block one of my setups. And why it's important, so why it may be important, so because you basically, if you cannot remove the setup, let's say, this line, if there is any transactions posted, but if you don't want it to be used, so the only method before was to let's say, maybe to build some custom code to be able to block it, to hide it from user input. So okay, so now we're blocking some setup for further demo purposes. And now in feature, I will show you how check documents and journals while you work functionality works. It's a new functionality. I think by default it's a little bit constrained by the size of my screen. So I think this feature is enabled, so you may check it. It may not be enabled on your tenant by default, but there is a feature called check documents and journals while you work, and it's very good to, let's say, not to do the preview posting or just trying to post something, but you instantly get information about possible problems. And another, I think, yeah. So in GL setup, we need also to enable data check. So to additionally enable this checking. So now, if let's say want to, it works currently. It works on purchase and on purchase documents and general journals, but Microsoft is will improve this later. So I will try to purchase something for also for. Okay, and now now you see. Just a second. Okay, from whoever. From whoever. So, and now you can see that I have a notification that, well, system basically not, it also I enabled it twice, but system is again reminding me that well, suggesting me to enable this feature. If I will enable this feature, then let's say I will try to purchase some bicycle. And I already have, let's see, there is nothing to post issue, but it should change to something else. It takes some time, but I will try to refresh. There's nothing to post. It should be actually another error, because yeah, it should be about, because I blocked the VAT group. Oh, sorry, it's export. It's another VAT group. Okay, so now, yeah, so now you can see that without even posting this document, I'm receiving some information that this VAT group is blocked. So the same thing happens in general journals. Not the same thing. It looks slightly different in general journals, but the idea is quite the same. So if I will, okay, let's say I would like to make some operation on my. I also prepared this account a bit, and as you can see, it instantly showing me information that I need to choose a dimension value code for department, because I pre-set up this GL account to require the department code. So if I will set something, so this error will go away and I will have another error. So what's also important is that we can review all lines are being reviewed. So so quite a neat feature for its daily routines of someone who is working on in journals or documents. Okay, so now this was the feature to check documents in journals while you work, to save some time in unnecessary, checking what's happening while you post. So now I want to show feature that is called consolidate customer and vendor balance. So while there are quite often situations when you can have same entity, well, let's say same business unit being your vendor and customer. So most of the time it may have a lot of sense to let's say combine their balances, or at least see how this balance is related. But Microsoft also included a option to to net the balance in payment journals for both of them. So if I have a customer, I also pre-defaulted this created, let's see, rename this customer to Yeah, so now you can see that we have a balance of the customer, and now this field is called, sorry, it's my screen size. So now we have a field balance as vendor, and you see that nothing is available here. So what's needed to let's see, to enable this feature? So this customer and vendor must be related through the contact. So now I do not have this. I do not have vendor for this contact. So now I will create this contact as vendor. Okay, it will be my just the same, I think, as my customer. And now, it's not, it's not, has not enabled right away. But if I will return to my card, I will instantly see that this is enabled as a flow field. So to go a little bit further, I will create again purchase invoice for my newly created vendor. Okay, it should be somewhere. It's not always somehow catching. Yeah. What is the error? Yeah. Okay, so my invoice, and again I will purchase some bicycle. I think I will have an error regarding the VAT. So let's say 10 bicycles for, I don't know, 5,000, whatever. And why it has nothing to post? Not sure. Okay, so yeah, so the setup is blocked. I don't know why it sometimes reacts a little bit with a little bit delay, that it shows nothing to post until you refresh it or do something. So now I will need to unblock my VD, and see, it instantly shows that there is 0 issues. Posting the document, and we should see. No, I don't want to see it, but let's say if we go to customers or vendors, it works both ways. I should see, yeah, that now this vendor has a balance. So, and I think we can go to payment journals and try to. Okay, we can try. There is a new function, net customer and vendor balance. So if I want to, it's for my vendor, I don't remember the number. Yeah, this one. Okay, so I hope these settings will work. Okay. Oh. Okay. Yeah, and now you see that it calculated basically both vendor and customer balances and suggest me to close them together. Let's see, vendor part and a few payments from customer part. So that's about consolidation of, well, possibilities of consolidation customer and vendor balances. There is small neat features maybe around locations that now if you need a dimension on locations, you now have you can add dimension, apply them at dimensions on locations. If you need more, let's say, customizations in this area, more information on your locations. Another neat feature, well, not sure about. I will go to sales order. It's now there is a possibility to release or reopen multiple documents at. Sorry. I should go to list here. I can release and reopen multiple documents at the same time. So let's see. I don't need a tour. I think somewhere here they're released. I think I can. Yeah, I can release or reopen multiple documents. And as you can see, what's also a neat feature that even if some document have problems, system senses that it may have problems to release or open it, so it will skip it, but will not skip all the documents. So as you can see, these documents change its state. And I believe I also wanted to demonstrate how to create custom Excel report layout, but I think I'm a little bit out of time for the moment, and I actually have some more information to share. And I would ask team to start a poll. And poll, my question would be, I'm actually planning somehow to upgrade to the latest version. And if you're planning to do so, while we will start the poll, I hope my team will start it. Hopefully, team. But let's hope they will do it. What I want to present, either you want to upgrade to the latest version or maybe some previous versions or whatever, but we as Companion, we have a tool that may really speed up and help you in the process and in, let's say, negotiation with your customer and all the communication. So because just by providing some information, it's basically FOB file and some few maybe additional questions. By uploading this your FOB to our upgrade analyzer in, let's see, in up to 5 business days, you will be provided with let's see, with several scenarios, several, let's say, upgrade passes with fixed price, and you can actually review all the contents of the proposal. Either it's upgrade to on-premises, you can choose if it's upgrade to on-premises. You can choose if you want to upgrade to Business Central Online. You can choose, you can see information instantly, either it's a clean start or it's let's say lift and shift upgrade. Well, all the options you can let's see review and instantly see the upgrade, let's see, full project price. And in the next step, you can let's see, even configure your project even more. So if there is, let's say, do you need test environments? Do you need some additional warranty? Do you need to upgrade to the standard events, or maybe you need some customizations because it's not possible to move to standard events? So basically, more and more, let's see, you have a lot of options to adjust the project and how each change impacts your price. And it all happens, let's say, in up to 5 business days just by providing your FOB files. So while we had a poll, I'm not planning to upgrade. Yeah, but most, as we can see, most of the audience, it's 69%, are planning an upgrade, and I think it's a very good idea. And if you want to speed up, to possibly speed up your this upgrade process by giving it out to a really professional team at Companio, so you can use our upgrade analyzer to at least to have some idea how much it can cost and take further actions. So now I'm handing over to my colleague Jan. Thank you for listening. I hope it was at least a bit helpful, and thank you once again for being here. Bye.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you for presenting what you did and showing a lot of demos. I will start by introducing myself, but first I will have to share my presentation. Let's see if that works. Okay. Yeah, my name is Jan Veenendaal. I'm a partner technology strategist at Companio, which means that I help partners choosing the technical options for going forward in the future. And my background is as a Business Central developer. So I know everything which is about the technical side of Business Central. In the newest version of Business Central 2022 Wave 1, there's a lot of changes on the technical side. And I have grouped these changes in 5 parts. We will look at obsolete code. Actually, we will not look at the code, but we will look at the number of items that are obsoleted in the current version, in a new version, and we will compare that to the previous version. Then there are some application changes. Igor already showed a lot of changes in the application that are more for users, but there are also some changes in the application that are more for partners or for system administrators. So in application changes, we will look at that. A third form of changes that are in the new version are changes to the AL language. There are some new capabilities in the AL language which help you as a partner or as a developer to get the things ready for your customers. It will make a lot of things easier in your app. Then the next technical change is something in which I've named developer experience changes. So these are changes that help you as a developer in your daily work. So these are changes in the mostly in the Visual Studio Code environment and in the developing process. And the last group of changes that we will look into is telemetry changes. Of course, you know that Business Central can now send telemetry data to Application Insights. And through Application Insights, you can analyze all these telemetry events that are sent to you and find trends and find exceptions in what's happening in your customers' environments. So you can monitor your own environment or the environment from your customers. Okay, obsoleted code. I have compared BC19 to BC20. So the last version from last year to the version that is released this month. And everything that is obsoleted by Microsoft, which is code that has been replaced by newer code, is assigned an obsolete tag. And this obsolete tag shows in what version of Business Central this code was obsoleted. And you see that in the lower part there is a total line, and the total line shows a decrease in number of obsolescence that are still in the code. So in BC19 there were 1,415 objects or lines of code in the application that were obsoleted, and that has been reduced to 1,372, which means that a lot of code that was obsoleted has now actually been removed from the application. In earlier versions, we saw that it was mainly growing the number of obsolescence, but now it's staying roughly the same, even decreasing a bit. And what you see is in the obsolescence from version 17, there are 200 things that were obsoleted in version 17, which are not available anymore in code in Business Central 20, so in the current version. And next to a diminishment, a decrease of roughly 200 from a year and a half ago. Of course, there's also a lot of new obsolescence because new functionality replaces old functionality. And so there are 123 new objects or changes in the application. And most of these will be removed later on. And you see that now already there are 31 objects or lines of code that have been obsoleted, and they will be removed in version 23 or later. Version 23 will be the version of a year and a half from now. So at the end of next calendar year, these lines can be removed by Microsoft. It doesn't say that they will do that directly, but they can do that. So what you see is that Microsoft is now coming into a motion where they just actually remove things that are old and are just introducing new parts in the software. So that means if you are developing software in Business Central, you should always check for these obsolescence. And if you get a warning in Visual Studio Code that you are using an obsolete function or an obsolete object, that you should really think about how to replace it in your next version, because someday your app will not work anymore if you keep using obsoleted objects. The next group that we are going to to look at is application changes. Microsoft is in the process of moving all kinds of code from the base application that they provide as one monolithic block of code, and they are changing things and taking it out of the base application and insert it in dedicated apps. And in this version, there's only one app which is really added, which is for exchange rate adjustments. So the exchange rate adjustment functionality is still there. It's still in the base application, but it's now technically in a separate app, which means that you could, in theory, leave that out of your solution if you really want. There's also new reports, new reporting events. In a lot of cases, if you are changing reports for customers, or if you are developing new reports, you may want to be notified if a report has been printed or if a document has been downloaded. And so these are new events in the report management code unit, and they help you to manage the flow of documents within your application, within your extension, if you want. You don't have to use these events, but they are now there so that you can react on them. The third thing that are in application changes are 3 parts which help you as a partner. The first one is a demo tool and demo data, and that's in an extension now, which is called Contoso Coffee. And I will really quickly now open a sandbox environment. This is a online sandbox environment for the version 20, for the new version. And if I go from that environment to my extension management, then from extension management, I can go to the extension marketplace, which is the app source app. And there, if you search for Contoso, there is a lot of Contoso Coffee demo data sets here. So there's now data available in the app source environment that you can install in empty sandbox environments so that you can run a demo from that. So demo data is now available as an app. The second thing that has been added to the application is something called an in-client performance monitor. This in-client performance monitor is meant for analyzing performance issues on a user level. So if a specific user has a performance problem that you want analyzed, then you can now start the in-client performance monitor for that customer, for that user. I can show you again in the sandbox environment. And for example, let's say there is your user is using the customer list, and they say that there is some performance problem by starting the customer card. Now, what you can do is in the user session, you can go to the help environment, and then you go to help and support. And in help and support is now an option called analyze performance. And if I click that one, there will be an extra window opened, and that is called performance profiler. And I can here now start and stop a performance profiling session. So let's just start it, because now is the place where the user is having a performance issue. Now I ask the user to do the action that they feel is having this issue. So maybe I'll just open a customer card. And when the action that has the problem has been done, I can switch back to my profiler view, and I can stop the performance profiler. And now I can see which part of the application has used some resources in the application. There's a graph here, which shows you relatively which part of the application is using resources or using computing power. But we can also open something called technical information. And if I click that one, you can see that the time spent on this action is, in this case, entirely in the base application. It could be all kinds of applications there. But I can also drill down to objects, so I can see which objects are opened during this process that the customer has done. And I can even drill down further into something called a call tree. And this shows me all the events that have been used in this process. Now, of course, you can analyze this here in the user session, but probably your user will want to continue their work and they don't have the time to wait for you to finish your analysis. But what you can do is you can download these results. It can have privacy information, so you should be careful about what you do with this file. But you will get a profile file, and you can analyze that using using performance tooling. Okay. So there's a performance tooling now for users. You cannot start it from your support station to start it at a user's session, but you can start it from the user session directly. There will be probably more advanced options for this even in the next version. Also for analysis purposes, if you are using reports in your app, then of course reports in Business Central are based on a data set. And this data set is exported from the Business Central application to a report viewer. And the report viewer or Word makes the layout. So if you have an issue in a report, there are two steps that you need to check. The first step is the data, and the second step will be the layout. And now you can export the data as an XML file, and so you can check if the data that's on your layout is, if for example, if something's missing, if it's coming because the layout is wrong, or because the data is not in the data set. The next parts of the changes in BC20 are changes in the AL language. The first thing that has changed is something called isolated events. If you are using events in your app, you can publish events and you can subscribe to events. Then you may know that if you have an event subscriber and your event subscriber runs into an error, you get an error message that will stop the application from continuing. But in some cases, you don't want the application to stop. For example, if a company is opening, if the user is opening their company, their client, some apps may run, and even if these apps run into a problem, you still want the user to be able to open their client, their website. So in the base application, this on-company open completed event is now a new type of event, and that's called an isolated event. And the nice thing is about isolated events that even if one event subscriber fails, all other subscribers to that event will be called, and the application will just continue running even if there is an error. Let's do a short demo of that. Okay. What I got here is a sample app that I prepared, and this this app extends the customer list and adds a button called a standard event. And this is just an event like we used to have. And now what I can do is I can add a code unit. Let's create a new code unit called CMP event. Let's maybe call it CMP event 1, but I will be creating a second one later on. And in this code unit, I will subscribe to my event. Which is in a page, and it's in the page customer list. And my event is called standard event, or sorry, on standard event. It does not have an element name, and if something is missing in the license or in the permissions, I will just skip that. And what I will do is I will just throw an error. Standard event 1. And now I will copy this code unit. Let's just copy everything here, create a new file, which is CMP event 2. Paste the code in there and change a little bit around. And I will rename my code. So what happens now is if I publish this app, it will open my my Business Central environment, I hope. I'll just switch off the debugger. I don't need the debugger currently. Okay. In my customer list, here in the process button, there is now my new button standard event. And if I click that, I expect both events in both code units to trigger. But what happens is that I will get an error message. For some reason, it's really slow. It was quicker an hour ago. I don't know. That's the risk of running a demo online or live. Let's just refresh the client. Sorry about this. Okay. For some reason this doesn't work. I will leave it running and get back to this later on. I'll first continue with the presentation. Let's do it this way. A second change in the AL language is called rendering, and that's a new section in my in the report objects in the AL language. In a report object in AL, you can define a layout. You can define a RDLC layout or a Word layout. But until now, you could only have one of these. You can have one RDLC layout in a report or one Word layout, but nothing more. And from this current version, you could do a different type of layouts, or at least a layout definition. And this allows you to have multiple layouts of the same type. So you can now have multiple RDLC layouts in one report. The third change in the AL language is called Elevate Permissions, and that's an option that is working on-prem only, and it allows you to assign permissions to a procedure. So in earlier versions of Business Central, you can assign permissions to an object, like a table or a code unit or a page. But now you can also assign permissions just to a procedure in a code unit. So you can have a procedure which can do something that the user usually cannot do. The next change that I want to show is something called AL Go for GitHub. This is developer experience changes. There is now a GitHub repository created by Microsoft, and it's called AL Go. So let's go there. GitHub. Microsoft/ALGO. And this GitHub allows you or provides you with tools to set up a continuous development and continuous integration pipeline, and everything that you need for managing your app from within GitHub. And you don't have to know anything, at least very little, about GitHub and about pipelines to get it working. It's rather extensively documented, so there's a lot of things that you should look at. Another option in the development experience is that you can now deploy depending projects that are in your workspace. In earlier versions, if you had a workspace which had several apps that depend on each other, you were required to first install the one before the dependency could work. And now Visual Studio Code can deploy all these apps in one go. The latest changes are changes in telemetry. If you have telemetry from your app, you can now add default custom dimensions. And that, for example, if your app requires you to use divisions in your app, and then you can have the division code always added to your telemetry. And by default, Microsoft has already added the company name that you are using in automatically as a custom mention if you use the log message function. So this helps you analyze your application inside the data by where it's coming from. Now you can also monitor the use of features that Microsoft has provided in Business Central. So you can monitor if your customers are enabling features in Business Central. And the last one is users can vote on usefulness of error messages. Let's just have a quick look if my app is already available now again. No, it's not there. I would have liked to show you. In error messages, there is now a thumbs up and thumbs down image where your user can tell you if they find the error message that you provide useful or not. And based on that, you can decide to update your error messages. That's it for me. This was a quick overview of the technical changes in Business Central Release 20. I don't know if somebody is closing this session now.
Jan, I think we have a question.
Okay. Let's see.
I have answered one, but I think there is maybe some more insights from you on another topic.
Let's stop sharing my screen, then I can. If a custom extension has a table extension of a standard table that is deprecated by Microsoft, what is the best way to remove that table from the extension and upload the change to production? In cloud environments, you cannot really remove fields and tables. So they will be having an obsolete status which is removed, but technically the table will still be there. So you should set the obsolete state to removed and prepare new objects with the new fields and the new tables that you need. So force syncing in cloud is not possible. If you are on-prem, then you could do that if you are really sure that the data that was in that field and in that table is removed. But since that can be a long-during thing, it requires some time and it requires that the users are not in the system, and it would definitely require a lot of testing. Okay. Then I would like to thank everybody for joining this webinar. I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you next time.